It's TDS Radio, your girl Soul Fab here, Coach Block, and we
Yo.
are officially in our small business conversation segment.
Yes.
Hey
yes.
now, we got a guest in. Ooh, girl, your
Hey.
skin is marvelous.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. I try to keep it moisturized already. Gotta keep it
Yes.
young looking.
So we've been teasing. I'm gonna let you go ahead and
Okay, cool. So to my right and to Kim's left, our first small business conversation will be with Miss Brittany Turner of Sprout and Spice.
Mhm.
And we are going to talk about how she came about the business, how you came about your name, what's driving you, all that good stuff. But first, just tell people who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Brittany Turner, and I am the owner of Sprouts and Spice Agriculture Academy. We aim to teach child nutrition in a fun and sustainable way. So that's pretty much about who we are.
So how did you come about Sprout and Spice? Like how did this sprout? Ba-doom. Yeah.
That's it.
There we go.
So Sprouts and Spice was originally an idea that was kind of birthed before the pandemic. It was originally called Little Musical Chefs. And I went to preschools and daycares and the YMCA and Chick-fil-A, and I did all these music classes, and some were cooking classes, and some were birthday parties around the Triangle. The pandemic came, and also my own personal life event, and then I had to get a 9 to 5. And that's kind of where we met. I became a teacher, teaching home ec, and I saw a very big gap between what the industry actually looked like in the culinary and food and beverage world, and what was actually being taught to the students at the high school level. And I was just like, oh, it's a big disconnect. This is not what you kind of need to go into the industry. And the same stuff that was being taught when I was in home ec is the same stuff that's being taught right now.
Are you serious?
Yes. There wasn't a advanced curriculum, still Serve Safe, which is a national thing you have to get for safety and sanitation. But the gap of like the different careers that people could be a part of, the different avenues that you can go into as it pertains to food, agriculture, ag tech, none of that was even being discussed. And so I decided that I wanted to stop teaching and go back to being an entrepreneur, because that is really what my passion is in teaching youth. And I catered, we dedicate Sprouts and Spice to like middle school and high school kids to kind of bridge that gap that is not being met in the school system. So that's kind of where it came from, coming from the pandemic, and you couldn't get to food. So teaching kids how to grow their own food and then how to cook with it is our, things that we do in the business.
So how important is it that, one, the young people know how to grow their own food? Because like being from the North, you don't really hear that.
Yeah.
And then two, what ways do you grab their interest in it? Because it's not a phone. You know what I'm saying? It's not digital. It's not something this is something that they literally, for lack of a better term, have to put their hands in the dirt.
Yeah.
So what are your ways to grab them on that?
So the first thing that we do is when we start class, the kids will get their own herb garden that they take home and a cookbook that goes along with those herbs. So we start out with culinary herbs, and this is a new venture. So these are my big ideas that haven't all been implemented yet. But to start, we teach them basil, rosemary, all of those culinary herbs. They get 8 herbs, and they'll cook with that herb in every class. So they might make tomato basil soup in class, and then they'll have the recipe to go along with that book, and they get all of that to take home.
Okay.
So the difference is keeping it sustainable so that they're able to cook that afternoon snack.
Gotcha.
Or something quick for them to eat. Like I have an 11-year-old, and a 12-year-old, and they want something quick and they want something that's still good, but also teaching them the nutrition behind it and where it comes from. So yeah.
Okay.
And how does that make you feel when you're seeing them take pride in learning, these meals?
At first, when I first started my business, I was like, okay, what am I good at when it comes to this? Yes, I'm good at the planning and making it a business, but what I love the most is teaching kids and seeing their excitement after they discover, oh, I can really make my own meal from scratch. Even within my own kids, them seeing that they can make their own food, they're like, oh, I can be a chef like mom, or I can do what Miss Brittany does. So that's the joy I get out of it, knowing that they can, make their own food and they love it. And some of them go into careers afterwards. So yeah.
So then for the culinary side of it, what like educational background do you have so that when a parent comes to you like, so
do you know what you're talking about?
Right.
I mean? So drop that on.
I am Chef Brittany. I have graduated from Johnson & Wales. It's one of the top culinary schools in the world. So I majored in culinary arts and did my bachelor's there as well in food service management. I was in the industry from age 16 to age 32 without telling all of what I am now. So I've been in the industry from the front of house to back of house management. So my last corporate job, I was a general manager for Bridgestone Tires, the tire plant. So I managed a 24/7 cafe, and it was just me. So that's why I got out of corporate. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It was a $2 million account. It was just me as in management as it pertains to the food and beverage part of it. So very stressful. And I had my son at the time that was 5. So I was like, I need to do something else that's not going to keep me away from my son once he starts school.
Right.
So that's where me having my own business was always the goal from culinary school and beyond.
Okay.
I always wanted to have my own business, but I never wanted to have a restaurant or a brick and mortar because of the overhead of it.
Right.
So Sprouts and Spice is different in that way. We are mobile. So we go to the child focused organizations and do these classes.
Oh, sweet. Cool. So we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, I got some more questions for you just about your entrepreneurial endeavors. And we'll go from there. So this is TDS Radio. Come back with us with Miss Brittany for Sprout and Spice. Chef
Brittany.
Sprouts
and
Am I saying it without the S?
Yes.
Okay, because it feels like I'm lisping. I don't Sprouts and Spice. I didn't want to do that.
It's TDS Radio.
That was that hard.
No.
She has got it,
I think.
She does? Okay. That wasn't so bad.
No, that was okay.
I wasn't soft. Oh, for real? Okay.
You are too? I'm in years.
3, 2. It's TDS Radio, your girl Soul Fab here, Coach
Yo.
Block, and we are in the midst of our small business conversations.
With Chef Brittany, not Miss.
Hello.
I see. I met you as Miss in the classroom because we met at Inlow.
Yes.
So
yes.
and we both hated
Ooh.
it. Not because
See, I didn't even
not
say all
because
of that.
not because of the school. It
No,
was
no,
just
no.
because of how, like you said,
Things
curriculum.
the curriculum, how things are structured.
Mhm.
Seeing black and brown kids coming in and out of my room and
Mhm.
seeing the struggles that they have to deal with compared to the other students, it was a lot.
So, Chef, speaking of struggle, let's speak to that. The reason why
Sure.
is because we have a tendency, especially because we're dealing with kids, we have a tendency to allow them to snack with poor behaviors.
Yes.
And a lot of people say that that is due to financial situations.
It is.
So how can we get around that?
That is one of the reasons why I started Sprouts and Spice. I myself have had to struggle with my weight
Mhm.
due to being fed foods that were not healthy foods. I come from a family of 6 kids and I'm the second oldest. So, shout out to my parents. They still did a great job. But the food that we ate was a lot of processed foods.
Mhm.
I grew up on like Pop-Tarts and cereal and
Noodles and noodles. Ramen noodles.
ramen noodles, or I was really like Chef Boyardee, Frank's, breakfast for dinner. It was 6 of us and we're all a year apart. So it's not like my parents had a break in between there. And I got 3, so I already know how it would have been with 6. So the convenient food, that is the number one thing that is killing Black people, and it's like nobody's paying attention to it for real. And so if I can help in any way to kind of change that narrative or change that, starting with our youth, then that's my goal.
Okay.
That's my goal on why I'm incorporating seed to table curriculum and programming, so that our kids know where our food comes from. Like, I never even heard about farm anything until after college, and that was on my own research. Now, when you go to culinary school, there's a lot of farm to table initiatives, and there's agriculture classes now, and they're going into the ag tech. That's brand new. But even when I went to culinary school, farm to table was not a big thing, at least not where I was positioned to get jobs from. That wasn't a thing, and I worked at Marriott hotels to the Carolina Panthers, and so that wasn't a thing. And so my goal is so that kids can learn nutrition, sustainable agriculture, and culinary arts, so that it's still fun, but they also get that education piece of it.
Got you. So then mom says, Chef Turner, I only got an extra towards snacks, we'll say $30 to $40 a week. What am I going to the grocery store to buy that's healthy, that can take us through a week?
There's a lot of different things. My kids, I make them like a tomato and basil baguette. A piece of baguette might be $1 or $2. If you're going to Aldi's and you're really saving like I do or something, or Food Lion, and you get a baguette, you just slice it, toast it, put some mozzarella cheese on it and some basil, drizzle some balsamic vinegar on it, and my kids love that. Or even grilled cheese. You can still make grilled cheese healthy. A lot of people are on food stamps, or they're on WIC, and you get free bread with WIC. That's whole wheat, and you get cheese. So you can get a whole wheat grilled cheese sandwich that you can make if money is tight.
Am I using all the butter?
Not all the butter. Now, butter is not bad.
Okay.
I feel like butter gets a really bad rep. I cook with just butter, and don't judge me off of what I look like. No, stop. But I'm a chef, so of course I've tried all food, but butter is not bad. Butter can be considered a healthy fat if you're not overdoing it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right? So if you're putting 4 sticks of butter in everything, 4 tablespoons of butter in everything, that's excessive.
Right.
But if you're using a tablespoon to coat your pan because you're making a grilled cheese,
Mm-hmm.
that's better than using spray palm oil or corn oil that's not good for you,
Okay.
right? So there's alternatives. You can use olive oil, you can use avocado oil, that's a good healthy fat
Mm-hmm.
as well. They are a little bit more expensive, but Food Line has a little olive oil you can get that's just as cheap as other ones. Now, if
Okay.
you're using a whole bunch of oil, you're trying to deep fry something, yeah, you're gonna need a whole bunch of oil, but you shouldn't be getting that anyway. You should be frying it.
Yeah.
So you don't need all of that.
Okay.
You can fry in olive oil. It has a higher smoke point than butter does. So if you're pan frying something, there's nothing wrong with that. If you pan fry something, you might be vegan, you might be flour in it, and some mushrooms and some oil. It's okay. But use a healthier oil.
So for those who don't know, because I'm just now understanding this, explain vegan. Because somebody may say, "Oh, this is vegan," but it's like, what is that?
So vegan is just you do not eat any animal products, so no byproducts as well. So eggs, cheese, yogurt, you wouldn't eat any of those things. You would get a vegan option. But all these new vegan options that are out here are not always healthy. So somebody might say I'm vegan, and you might be like, "You're vegan, but your body don't look vegan," because some of them are unhealthy vegans where they're eating a whole bunch of potatoes and they might fry their food, or they're eating these cream cheese alternatives that are just as bad of ingredients, like with oils and additives and chemicals that are not good for you. So you really have to read the packaging when it says vegan. I went vegan last year for a month and it was great. It wasn't bad. I had real low energy because I changed up my diet.
Yeah.
But honestly, my mind felt more clearer. I wasn't as foggy. My joints stopped hurting, like my ankles and my knees and stuff. So what we are consuming and what we are eating is really affecting our bodies. And I think what we consume as a culture compared to other cultures, it affects our bodies more than any other culture. And so I think it's definitely time for us to start paying attention to that because it's killing us. We're like 40% more to die from heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure. And luckily, I don't have any of those things yet, but that's why I'm trying to make sure my own children eat healthy. Like my kids eat Brussels sprouts. Yes. And I might just put a little Parmesan cheese on it to make them want to eat it.
Brussels.
Whatever.
So my kids were the same way. So
that.
what I do is I roast them, put a little olive oil, roast them in the oven, put a little cheese on top, like Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, and they love it.
Girl, when can I come over and eat?
Let me know anytime, because we eat
everything you suggested. I'm like, yes.
Listen, we eat, okay? We eat. Or even if I want my kids to eat broccoli or something like that, I may put, cheese on it. Cheese is like a thing that kids, they see cheese, it's like, ooh, cheese.
Right.
So you can make my little one, I'll give him, it's a convenience food that you can get, but they're broccoli tots. They're made with broccoli. There's no other added ingredients but broccoli and cheese, and it's something you can put in the oven. I just call them chicken nuggets. He don't think not chicken nuggets. He just dip them in the ketchup and he eats them, but he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So it's just about, and it's really about starting them young as you can, to start eating healthy.
Okay.
Because when you try to get to that middle school and high school, you got to kind of teach them what to do to cook for themselves, because that's the age when they start to really get in the kitchen. Mom might not be home and they got to make something for themselves. So, that's our goal, for them to learn how to do it themselves.
Cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. So when you have students who are just kind of frustrated, or they're just like, I don't know if this is for me, how do you kind of coax them and get them, to see that it's not as hard as you think?
Usually I give those students a one-on-one, because usually it's not that they don't want to do what I'm doing. They might have some other issue going on, right? On why they don't even want to try. Some kids, I have one kid that's my kids. One kid is really quiet and one kid is very boisterous. So being in the industry, I've learned how to deal with different personalities to be able to get them to do what I need them to do, how I need them to do it. So I feel like that's a skill. And even with kids, you have to learn, you got to have a special kind of skill to kind of deal with kids, their mood swings and behaviors and stuff like that. And I think that I have a gift in that part. So I don't really have too much pushback when it comes to, okay, let's just try. Let's just see if you can do it. Most students want to cook something because they know they're going to eat afterwards. So
Absolutely.
they're like, oh, I'm trying to eat one.
Now, as someone who you've done the work, like you've gotten the education and you're constantly putting it into practice, you're doing the research. When you see people on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever, who are these chefs, but they're only going by, recipes that they may have found or creations that they're making. Everybody's frying crab legs and making salmon nuggets. How does that make you feel, someone who has been in the field and who has done the work?
I mean, it doesn't make me feel any way because, whatever's your lane, that's your lane. I'm not here to hate, do you? But I think it definitely makes kids think and make people think that's how you should eat all the time, right? So if there's a, influencer that's out there and that's all they make on Instagram, it's like, I know you're not eating that every day.
Right.
And it takes you time to make this content because I make content.
Right.
So I know it takes you time to make this content and you're basically perpetuating the stereotype of fried, cheesy, greasy food that's not good for us. And it's, like I said, it's killing us. So it bothers me a little bit, but it's nothing I can do. Now, there's nothing wrong with making something with some sugar in it or something with some, fried or whatever. But my goal is to teach people how to use cheap ingredients, for our underserved community or people that look like me, because I know what it is to make a meal out of nothing, but still keep it, nutritious. So my goal, even when creating my recipes for our garden cookbook, is to, do ingredients that kids can get on WIC, kids can get on, you can get on food stamps, you get on those type of programs so that you don't got to worry about, okay, do I have enough to make this recipe? So yeah, it bothers me, but it's fine.
Cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back. And what I'm going to jump into is more of the entrepreneurial side that you are getting into, a little bit of the actual structure of
the road,
the business,
the journey.
Yeah, the business. Yes. We're going to stand on some business
business.
There we go. Cool. So this is TDS Radio. We'll be back with more with Chef Brittany when we return.
Good. We are. How long you been with talking?
I don't know, like 15 minutes.
Almost 20.
Oh,
Okay. Almost 20, 22 to be exact.
So we got 2 minutes on the phone.
Okay.
Am I answering your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on. I'm like, do you offer meal prep? Because, honey, I'm ready to come and eat. Like, when is dinner?
Everybody always asks me that. Can you meal prep for me?
It's TDS Radio, your girl So Fab, Coach Block,
Yo.
and Sprouts and Spice.
Hello.
Brittany
You gotta make
Turner
sure
in
you
the
put that
building.
S on it.
Yes.
Sprouts.
Sprouts and Spice
Spice.
Agricultural Academy.
Yes.
Yes.
We be trying to keep the agriculture out. It's kind of long, but you know,
Hello. Throw it in there.
put it in there
So,
quick.
first thing about starting a business is one, you see a need.
Yes.
Okay. So then once you see that need, you said, all right, I got to sit down and create curriculum of how I want this to
Yes.
flow in and out.
Yes.
And so one thing that we like to talk with our entrepreneurs about, because, you know, there's a lot of people at home hoping to take the step that you've taken, which is I am going to try it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because none of us know if it's going to work. We all
Yes.
pray that you're going to hit a home run.
Yes.
But we know along the way that you might trip getting on some basics.
It's gonna be
Mhm.
some obstacles.
It's going to be some obstacles.
It's
So
gonna be
that's
some
what
fails.
that's what we're
Yeah.
going to talk about right now, so that
Okay.
you can help the next entrepreneur take the jump.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that, like when you're saying, okay, I found the need, I found the problem, and I can solve it. What did you immediately do next?
Okay, so let me go back. When I started Little Musical Chefs, it wasn't really a need. It was more so I'm tired of corporate. I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta do my talent was what I said,
Mhm.
which is I'm a singer and I'm a cook. So I was like, I'm about to put these together
Mhm.
and we about to make this thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, I knew that I needed to figure out who my target audience is. And so that's important. When you're trying to start a business, you need to figure out who you're targeting. And so when I started Little Musical Chefs, my target was preschools, daycares. And it kind of came out of me just looking for another position as a music teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a need that there are no music programs that go to these places. So that's kind of how that formed.
Mm-hmm.
And then that same thing of me branding, I call it a rebrand of Little Musical Chefs to Sprouts and Spice. I first started the business with that same thing. Okay, we should do preschool, little kids, and then I was like, maybe not. I think I need to focus on middle and high school kids because that's where the biggest need is.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw so many of my students outside of the classroom after I stopped working at Enloe that were in food service jobs.
Correct.
And these kids told me up and down, I would never. I'm not gonna be working at no fast food place. I said, listen to me. That is gonna be your first job.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like it or you enjoy it once you get into it, you need to pay attention to my class.
I know that's right.
But they didn't listen to me. They
Right.
did not listen to me.
Yeah.
When I was telling them this. And so one of my students actually saw her and she was working at the barbecue place in Nightdale. You know, the one that like closes, it's new.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, but
I don't really go to night.
it's a really good barbecue place that everybody was talking about. But anywho,
okay.
I saw her there. I saw her there and she was working behind the counter. Of course, she's graduated now. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're like, what do you have? You know? And she's like, oh my gosh, Miss Turner, I should have listened to you. I actually like cooking. And then I was like, I told you to pay attention to my class.
Prime
You know,
barbecue?
that might be it.
They got a 4.8 rating, girl.
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, superb barbecue. Okay, the best I've ever had. I tell the manager, I said,
Really?
listen, it's the best barbecue I've ever had. But anyway, so what was your question?
No, the after you address the need, what was the next step?
So after you address that need is finding your target audience. And so that was just me seeing her and I had actually just came back from this Business Accelerator when I saw her, which was crazy. But anyway, me seeing that the need was an actual like a full circle moment, like, okay, Brittany, this is what the kids need. Because if she would have had a little bit more training with me, maybe the second year of me being a teacher, she could probably be in a different type of position. Maybe she could be the shift manager. Maybe she could be the person in the back cooking. You get what I'm saying? So I saw that it was, something that kids need. But anyway, yeah, your target market is the next step that you want to look at.
So did you have once you've seen that, you knew your target market, how do we take that jump? Was there fear? Because like you said, I want to leave corporate, but then you also know with corporate, that paycheck hitting.
Yeah, don't do what I did. No, don't do what I did. I got so frustrated. I just, gave my 2 weeks, but then it was like, some corporate stuff that went back and forth and I had to leave. But anyway, yeah, you want to make sure you have enough income to cover your expenses. If you're going to jump into entrepreneurship, you need a little bit of money to make money. You can't just kind of go into it like, oh, I'm just going to whatever. Dream. Now, if you got a husband or something like I do and he can support you while you're trying to do your dream, great. That's where I am now. But that's great. But you want to have at least something saved. And I did have some saved. So at least something saved or a plan that your business is going to be funded. And so Sprouts and Spice is kind of in the mix of having clients and possibly getting funded. So as a business, there's venture capital firms that can say, hey, we want to invest in your company, or we like your product and we want to invest in your product. So you can go that route, but make sure in that time you have some savings saved up.
Yes,
Amen.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because you don't want to be struggling out here because you got a dream. And as a creative, or as a person that has the entrepreneur spirit about them, you always got all these ideas and all these different things you want to do. And you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. What I have learned from being in business accelerators and talking to a lot of people who got the money, you need to start with your MVP, and that's your minimum value product, your minimum thing that you can make money with right now in the moment, even if you decide to leave your job. Make sure that it's something that you can make money on right now. If you got a product and you're selling it and you're saying, okay, I'm done with my job, then you got to go all in on that product, or you got to go all in on that service.
Yeah. So then now what is some of the things because I like for people to get a little bit of understanding of the reality of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that keep you up at night where you're like, I can't go to sleep because
I can't never go to sleep. I got a 2-year-old, so he likes to kid in our bed. But anyway, I think the things that keep me up at night are the big ideas. Like I can't eradicate all disease. You know what I'm saying? You can't eradicate like all homelessness or something like that. But sometimes I kind of take on like, okay, I have to do this because I have to be a part of the solution to this problem. That's what kind of keeps me up at night, because I'm like I said earlier, I'm on my own weight loss journey, and I don't want my kids to go through this. I don't want my nieces or nephews or kids period to have to worry about their weight and their knees hurting, and they they don't think about it now because they're kids, but by the time you get my age, you shouldn't have to feel the way I'm feeling, and it's all because of the food we're consuming. So I think if there's a way to fix that globally, that's kind of what keeps me up, because I'm just like, how can I do this fast, efficiently, make a profit, and cure everybody. So those are the things that keep me up, for real.
Now, partnerships or anything like that, are there any other people that you would look to work with, or are there any other people who, and you may have kind of answered this earlier, but are there any other people that look like you around here that are in this same mind frame? Like, how do we as a collective help push the Sprouts and Spice mission?
Well, honestly, I have just started to reach out to people that are in the area. I reached out to a girl in Durham, excuse me, and she has a company called Food Vibes, and she does kind of the same thing, cooking with kids. I know there's another person that is like a baker, and she teaches in Nightdale. So kind of just finding them. And a lot of that involves me being on the computer or being on Facebook, being a part of groups on Facebook, being on Instagram, and finding the people that are local to where I am that can either partner with me on doing what I'm doing or want to serve the community in the same way that I do. Because I don't know if I said this, but Sprouts and Spice is for the underserved community. That's the other part of it. It's for the underserved community. Don't want to be a full nonprofit because you can't sell a nonprofit. But if you ever want to exit, you can't sell it. You have to just dissolve it. But that's another topic. So don't want to be a full nonprofit, but still want to be able to be for profit, but still want to serve the people that need it. Is another struggle. So yeah.
What has been the general response to Sprouts and Spice, or is there some people that still don't understand it? So tell what's been
the response is, oh my gosh, this is wonderful, this is great. Oh, this is such a neat idea. I've never heard about, never heard anyone doing something like this before. And my response is, thank you. I appreciate that. If you can point me in the direction to help fund this idea, that would be awesome. So having the idea that it's a unique idea that no one else has actually tapped into yet, even though this is a $1 billion market, nobody's really tapped into what the big picture is. And I don't really want to go into the whole big picture, but what the big picture is. And I was actually in a business accelerator where I had to compete against other businesses. And I was chosen as a finalist, 10 other businesses that were chosen here in North Carolina.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So you had to compete for one of the $10,000 prizes. And my business hasn't been in business that long, so I might not have the finances that the other businesses have had, but I'm in a room with people who have the money, right? I'm in the room with people who could help me fund my business. I had to pitch my business to investors. And the consensus in the room is what I just said. Oh, this is a great idea. This is wonderful. Maybe leave the Black thing out. Maybe
we need a sound effect.
Curb that out. Because you're in a room with people who don't look like you.
Right.
And you're trying to convince them that this is something you need for your people. And they're like, okay, that's cool. Ain't nobody gonna give you no money, you say that. So that's kind of the pushback. And that's what I'm going through right now. How do I market this so that I can have enough money to do this? Or do I have to be a nonprofit? And then that's the only way I can be funded or I can, have investors. Because like I said, you need a little bit of money to make money.
Absolutely.
So how does that piece right there of, y'all, wow, you know what I mean? Because that's kind of how that's how I would take it. Y'all, wow. How do you
stay motivated? Because you're essentially crushing my dream and my mission statement.
Right.
It's to me, it's like a punch. It's like you hit me. I felt that and it hurt. But I still got a mission I got to complete.
Right.
I still have a vision that I know was given to me and I have to make sure it gets done.
Right.
So that's kind of, I'm a New Yorker, so don't nothing kind of move me no way. You know what I'm saying? I've been through personally a lot in my life, and I could have let depression hit me and, you know, any and everything hit me and stop me from doing what I feel like I should be doing.
Mhm.
And you just gotta have the determination and the, you know, I know people say you need determination and willpower and consistency, but that thing is real. Like
Mhm.
if you want it, you gotta fight for it, and eventually, you know, it may take a couple of fails, but eventually you'll get there.
Right.
So I just had that belief that somebody will see it, somebody will pick it up. I mean, I try to go viral sometimes, but you know, it don't work like that. So even with, you know, all my creativity and all my talent, I try to use all things. So if, you know, I get a video that goes viral off of cooking and singing, then great. If it goes viral off of me promoting Sprouts and Spice, great. But I'm still gonna make sure,
Absolutely.
you know, what those visions are and those entrepreneur dreams are come to pass. But how it comes to pass may not be the traditional, hi, I'm pitching my business. Would you like to invest? It might not be that way.
Right.
But like you
So,
said, sometimes all you need is that one person.
all you need is one.
that
All you
one.
need is one. All you need is
Mhm.
one person to believe. And I feel like somebody's gonna catch on and say, "Hey, let me help you with that."
Mhm.
There's people, you know, sitting right now. I don't know what to do with my money.
Right?
I don't know what. I have all this money. I don't got nobody to give it to. You know. So hopefully somebody will see me somewhere and be like, "Oh, okay, I like what she's doing."
Yeah.
But you still got to keep going. Still got to keep grinding. Until you get to where you want to be.
Bet. Now, before we slide out of here, tell everybody how they can get in contact with you with this, and if there was that person watching, how can they get you to
How they can get an invite to get some food.
Yes. So our website is www.sproutsandspiceacademy.com. You can go on there and check out all of the things, all of the pictures. We also have our Soul House and Catering on that website as well. So if you have a small, intimate catering of 55 people or less, we do that as well. Like I said, you gotta grind for what you want. And so I do multiple things to try to make sure all things happen. So I do catering as well. Instagram, Chef B Sings. TikTok, Chef B Sings. Sprouts and Spice on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us. Yeah.
Cool. So then, since it's Chef B Sings, is there something you can sing us out on so we can get out of here and sing us a goodbye or something to the listeners that are listening? I was gonna get you because if you guys go follow, she sings all the time.
I do sing all the time.
Is there something you can get us out of here on?
What y'all in the mood for?
I don't know. You could just be saying goodbye.
Oh, singing a goodbye?
Yeah, it could be saying goodbye.
Come on, Dream Girls.
No. No, we ain't gonna do that.
Yes, girl, because it's hard to say goodbye.
Oh, we can sing that. Okay. Let me think. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Well, thank you, ma'am. And we appreciate you coming here. And please don't be a stranger.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. And we will definitely, we will tag everything so we can get the Sprouts and Spice message out there.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All it takes is one.
All
We're
it
claiming
takes
it.
is
We're claiming it, y'all. We claiming it.
2024, we claiming it. Just takes one.
Just takes one.
All right. And then Kim and I will be back tomorrow with some fabulous foolishness. So please continue to listen and keep it locked tomorrow. We'll see you at 5:30.
All right.
Bye.
TDS Radio.